For a Tuesday morning, everybody's back to work, so we presume a lot of you are involved in your coffee break from the work site, and we are glad you're with us. For those of you who slept in yesterday, welcome back.
Yes.
You know, it was a holiday yesterday. It says there, Frank and friends. Friends today include Mark Murphy, editor of the Providence Business News. Zach, of course, with word on our local weather. You'll probably say something in a few minutes about the Hurricane Michael.
Oh, absolutely. Hurricane Michael, yep.
All right, but first, we want to talk about something we always talk about, or I should say very often talk about here on Coffee Break, and that is, of course, the Pawtucket Red Sox. We know now they're gone, they're going to Worcester, but what about what's being left behind? The cover story in the current edition of the Providence Business News has what I think are previously undisclosed effects, very severe effects. The poor couple that headlined the story, they just opened up a bookstore and they were hoping for all kinds of traffic because the stadium, the new stadium, would be just down from where they were.
Yeah, they figured they were 150 to 200 yards from it. They signed a 7-year lease, and they figured, now they signed the lease before the plan to build a stadium at the Apex department store came in, but they figured that the city would at least have some of that traffic. And then they must have thought they've hit the lottery, because now they're going to get 400 to 450,000 people who are going to be nearby, and now nothing.
Yeah, and they said all that traffic is gone, and it doesn't just affect them.
No, and that's part of the what we wanted to do here. A couple years ago, we looked at Pawtucket and said, so what's going to happen? What's happening now? What's going to happen with the PawSox either staying at McCoy or moving to a new location? But now, since they're gone, there was all of this development that actually was planned, some of it in the pipeline. There were questions being asked. The owners of the bookshop said people were calling them and saying, hey, how do you like the city? What's good about it? What are the potholes? Who are the people to talk to? And all of that has stopped.
Yeah, and your article has a list of the projects that will no longer apparently move forward. There were some people who wanted to set up a gourmet waffle restaurant. Another group of business people had plans for a brew pub. The big Churchill and Banks development company was going to develop the Tidewater property. Now they say, no thanks, we're no longer interested. And there were plans for a hotel, also now gone.
Well, you think about it this way, is that Memorial Hospital, of course, is closed down except for just a primary care clinic. So they've lost that traffic. And in fact, we talked to a restaurant owner who his restaurant is across the street from McCoy Stadium, and he said his business has already been affected by the loss of the hospital. And if the McCoy Stadium goes empty, it's going to be very difficult for him to make a living. So you've got those businesses. You do have a new train station coming in, which was going to be kind of a provider, a feeder for people coming to the stadium, but also bringing more people into downtown Pawtucket. Now the train station is happening, and so that will go on. But the question is it going to be just is it going to help spur more development, or is it just going to be another commuter stop for people who are just coming in and going out?
Wow, the effects, I think maybe not everyone realized the extent of it. So what do the Pawtucket city officials do now?
Well, the mayor, Donald Grebian, is trying very hard to work with the state and he likens the downtown Pawtucket, what it needs is similar to what the I-195 Redevelopment Commission has done in Providence, is that he thinks they need incentives in order to get people to invest in downtown Pawtucket. And once those are on the books, then they'll be able to attract more interest, more capital. He says, if we don't get the incentives, he's afraid of another Central Falls scenario where Central Falls went bankrupt because as fewer and fewer businesses were there, they couldn't handle all of their financial obligations.
Wow, there's much more about all of this in the current edition of the Providence Business News in print and online. And Mark Murphy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Frank.